Okay, so it says we are live. Hello, well, hello everybody, and welcome to another session to the Java Champions Conference. It's a pleasure for us to be here, and my pleasure to host the next talk by Antoine Sabot Duran. Antoine Sabot Duran is one of our colleagues that is working at a French consultancy company as an architect and tech lead. And before he joined Red Hat, and he was a CDI spec lead for 5 years. So nothing more from my side. I hope you will have a great moment, Antoine. And yeah, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Nacho. Hello, everybody. So today we're gonna deal with the new things in CDI 4. And let me start by some auto promotion. So I'm Antoine Sabot-Durand. I'm Java champion, as you can imagine. I'm working in a small French company called Siam as a tech lead and architect. And as Nacho said, I was the former CDI spec lead for about 4 or 5 years. Working on CDI 2 and CDI 3 and a little bit of CDI 4. So you can follow me on Twitter or X now. And the same for CDI spec as well. So what are we going to talk today? So we're gonna go for a little flashback on CDI and CDI history. After that, we will go into the specific CDI4 new features, starting with the minor changes and going with the big part, the CDI Lite sub-specification that brings a lot of nice feature like the build time portable extension. And after that, I will take your questions. So let's go back in time. So CDI is a spec that was created before 2009. In fact, it was the result of a former framework called JBoss Sim. And the framework was very popular among the Java EE community at that time. And the idea of creating a real specification in the Java EE ecosystem born. And in 2009, with Java EE6, CDI 1 was released. So as you can see, there were a few iterations of CDI. I will go into the detail after that. And the last one, the last big one, is the CDI 4 that was released 1 year and a half ago. And there is some work going on CDI 4.1 with a better integration with over Jakarta EE specification, because in the meantime, Java EE became Jakarta EE. Especially with the REST specification. Okay, so if we go back on the major version. So as I said, CDI 1 was released in December 2009 with Java EE6. It provides a framework for inversion of control and dependency injection with management of lifecycle on a given object in a stateful way. And it was the first big solution based on dependency injection in Java based only on type. So it was a type-safe solution. And without any configuration except for some annotation, keyword, etc. And the dependencies are mostly selected at the moment of the deployment, but you can also at development dynamically choose your dependency. So there was also some AOP in the framework. So it was a way to have type-safe interceptors and decorators. And there was also something that is still very popular in CDI. It's an event solution, an event bus at the framework level that is used a lot in the portable extension solution. So the portable extension is one of the nice feature of the CDI that was here from the day one, and it provided the SPI allowing third party to integrate other framework or library in CDI in a clean way to have the same programming model on all the application. In 2013 and 14, there was the 1.1 and 1.2. Mostly, it was a way to put CDI at the center of the Java EE stack with the automatic enablement of CDI. Before that, you should have to add CDI explicitly and say, okay, it's activate explicitly. From then, it was automatically. There was more tools to do introspection in the event, bin decorator, etc. So you can grab at your bin code all the metadata linked to the bin. And you can also add an easier access to the bin manager, which is the gateway to all the bin in CDI in your application. So you can before that you have to use GNDI. From those versions, it was in the spec as well. And you could also have a way to add priority, on the interceptor with the priority annotation. So CDI 2.0, that was a big evolution of CDI. So the biggest one was mostly the support of Java IC in CDI. Before that, you have to add a Java IE container to use it. And from there, you can use CDI in Java SE in a portable way. Of course, most of the implementation did that before, but it was at the spec level. A lot of enhancement on the event. So you can have the ordering of the event from CDI2 and asynchronous event based on the JDK completable feature API. So it's done with that, and it's still the way it's done today. And a lot of helpers for your SPI. So before that, creating specific SPI, specific object at the SPI level was a bit cumbersome. From this version, you have configurator, a kind of builder, helping you to create your annotated type, etc. So a lot of AOP enhancement as well on the interceptor and produce bin, allowing you to have a producer and apply an interception on the producer. That was not doable before that. CDI 3 was mostly a port to the new Jakarta EE packaging. So as you may know, the migration from Oracle to Eclipse was a bit hard, and most of the change that has to be done in the first version of CDI, as it was the same for other specification, was to change the JAVAX package to Jakarta package. So that was the first version, part of the Jakarta E9. And after that, there was CDI 4. And let's start with listing the new feature at what they were brought in CDI 4. So the first part are mostly minor changes, but that can be interesting to go through. We started by removing deprecated part. So there was a lot of deprecated parts in CDI. So there was some that were deprecated in the 1.1 version. So we removed the add new qualifier that was used by nobody. And the bin is new label was also removed because there was other way to do that, and we didn't want to provide a way to have a new instance of a bin. Other features deprecated in 2.0 were about the some feature in the bin manager mostly. So the fire event method was replaced by the get event, mostly because we didn't want to have a how to say, the non-asynchronous way to launch event. So the get event is more able to launch asynchronous events, and the create injection target method that was replaced by a get injection target, allowing to configure the injection target before creating the final object. There was also changes in the bin discovery mode. So as you can remember in my third slide, I think, at the beginning, CDI 1.0 had to be explicitly activated, and the discovery mode was not very clear. It was clarified in CDI 1.1, but it wasn't very, how to say, it was a bit cumbersome for most of the developers to understand how it works. So if you didn't have a bin XML file or have the bin XML file with no version in your application, all the classes could be discovered as a bin. They have to be they have to meet some requirement, but all classes were scanned and could be eligible to become a bin. And if we had Benz XML with the in the deployment with the version 1.1 and the Benz XML, the default was annotated. Annotated means that your class should have a set of given annotation to be able to become a bin. So it was a bit confusing. So in CDI4, the bin discovery mode is now annotated. So it's making some breaking change, like other change we saw before. Of course, it's making some breaking change. But as you have to go through all your application to change the Javax package to the Jakarta package, it's not very how to say. You don't have an automatic port from your code coming from CDI2 to CDI4. So meanwhile, you are in the code changing your package. You can also work on those aspects of the discovery mode. All the discovery mode that existed from version 1 are still existing in CDI4, so you can always enable the right mode for you. In CDI4, there is also the modularity. So we now have the JPMS support. So the support of Java module system is done with the creation of the Jakarta.cdi module on the API. And the Jakarta CDI long model is defined with the new Java model defined in CDI Lite extension. So that's mostly all for the minor change in CDI4. And now we can go into the biggest part of the CDI4. It's the introduction of CDI Lite. Okay, so why CDI Lite? So the first question could have been, what is CDI Lite? So CDI Lite is a way to provide all the feature of CDI, but in a way that could be used, that could be, how to say, built at build time and not at runtime. So all the feature in CDI imply heavy use of introspection and of bytecode manipulation at runtime. So the idea here was to provide a way to have all the CDI programming model, but be able to build all the magic at build time and not runtime. So the target here was to provide a lighter CDI footprint. So by footprint, CPU, memory, and the size of the runtime. So it can run in constrained environment and cloud environment. So the main goal is to provide a subset of CDI as I said, able to provide the CDI magic at build time with the AOT computation, for instance. So there is, two main target for this light approach. That was the how to say the solution that were targeted when we thought about CDI Lite. The first one was the Quarkus framework, of course, that use only a solution at build time with the Graal VM, and Micronaut project that work with the expert work group, on CDI Lite a lot to be able to implement the CDI Lite specification as well. So it can also be used by all the microprofile implementation. So if you know microprofile, you know that the cornerstone of microprofile is CDI. So the idea was also to provide a solution that can have microprofile implementation lighter. For instance, you can see a solution like Oracle Elidum that will use CDI Lite. I think it's in the work. It should be ready during this year. So what did we do before the CDI Lite? We had the CDI specification split in three parts. So we had the CDI core, which was all the features of CDI for Java EC and Java EE, and the specific Java EC feature and the specific Java EE feature. Okay, so specific Java EC feature was, for instance, mostly all the bootstrapping feature for CDI, and the Java EE feature for CDI was mostly stuff related to AGB and stuff like that. Okay, so we split the CDI core in two parts. So CDI Lite and CDI full. Okay. So in fact, no, it's not. Sorry, it's not exactly that. It's CDI full minus the Lite feature. So the big box here on the left is in fact CDI full. So CDI full is split in two parts: CDI Lite and the other part. So the idea was to put in CDI Lite the maximum feature that were relevant for a build time experience for CDI. And the CDI for Java EC and CDI for Java EE stayed the same. Okay. So the question is, what did we remove? What's not in CDI Lite? It's shorter to go that way than listing what is in CDI Lite. So in CDI Lite, we don't have decorators. So decorators is a specific AOP tool that was introduced in CDI 1.0. And it's an AOP approach, very business oriented. And we remarked that very few people use decorators, so it wasn't introduced in CDI Lite. It could be done in the future, because it's not a technical limitation, but as I said, the effort is bigger than the usage. Some of the scope, like session and conversion scope, were removed. Mostly a stateful scope that weren't very relevant. Session and conversation are very web and let's say JSF related or servlet related. Specialization, which is a nice CDI feature, especially for test, was removed because the specification imply a lot of reflection at the implementation level. Bin passivation as well. So all the serialization of the status of the bin was removed because it's not very compatible with build time feature. And we had a lot of discussion around the portable extension feature, which is a very popular feature in CDI. So we had to remove the portable extension because portable extension is doing a lot of reflection stuff and based on the runtime feature. So we had to provide a new way of create extension. So it's the new build time compatible extension that I will go deeper in a few slides. And the good news, because it wasn't very how to say, it wasn't obvious at the beginning. CDI full is a superset of CDI Lite. So all features that are in CDI Lite are in CDI full. Okay. Even the new build time compatible extension. So you can use build time compatible extension in CDI full in your Jakarta e-computer today. What you cannot do is to use both portable extension and build time compatible extension at the same time, but you can use one or the other. So if you can build your framework integration with build time compatible extension, it will work for CDI full and CDI Lite. Okay, and as the CDI Lite is a subset, you can imagine having a feature from a CDI full moving to CDI Lite in future version. So the biggest work on the CDI Lite new feature is obviously the build time compatible extension. So the good news is that most of the feature provided provided by the portable extension are also compatible in this build time compatible extension. We had a lot of work thinking about those, and today it's doing quite the same feature. So there are few way of doing things in portable extension that cannot be used in build compatible extension, but you can do a lot of stuff in those. So as I said, CDI full support the build time compatible extension, so you can use your extension in build time compatible in CDI full. As I said, you can choose both. So these extensions are activated at build time. So we had to think about a new metadata API to work with this extension. So if you are accustomed to portable extension in CDI, you know that there is a type meta model in CDI that were here to be able to provide a mutable way of adding annotation, removing annotation, etc., etc. We cannot use those because those are how to say reflection related. They use a lot of reflection, so we cannot use those in CDI Lite. So we had to create a new metadata API. So what are the main difference between build time and portable extension, classical portable extension? So they all are based on the service provider, but the build time compatible extension use the build compatible extension interface and not the portable extension interface, but it's the same mechanism. So the build time compatible extension don't use the CDI observer approach as it's done in portable extension. So I will show you an example after that. So in a portable extension, you have to observe a list of how to say bin container event fire at the boot time, and you can work on those events to change the information discovered by the container. So we cannot use those observer because we don't have CDI active when the extension is applied. It's done at build time, and it should be processed before the runtime. So we have to use another way to add feature on the different type. Yet the main, how to say, the main ideas and philosophy that was in portable extension is still in the built-time compatible extension. Okay, so we have a specific preparation phase that roughly match specific event in the portable extension. So if we go that way, so in built-time compatible extension, we have some phase, and in portable extension, we have some event phase. So as I said, at boot time, the CDI container fire a series of events, one after the other, and you can listen to this event and change the content of what was discovered. In built-time compatible extension, you have some keyword that define some phases, and in those phases, you can change the related element at build time. So it's roughly the same concept behind them, even if it's not done at the same time. So as you can say, in the before bin discovery, the portable extension, you can add new interceptor, you can look at some specific annotation, etc. Here we have the add discovery phase. The process annotated type is an event used mainly to decide that a type finally is not, in the end, is not eligible to become a bin. So we can do the same roughly at enhancement, and also process annotated type allows you to add specific annotation on a given type or a type member. Registration is the matching of the process bin and process observer method that can be used to catch the definition of the given bin or observer method in the CDI application you are using. And one of the most used, how to say, event in portable extension is the after bin discovery that allows you to add synthetic bin in your deployment. So you can add a specific bin in the deployment. You can still do that with the built-time compatible extension with the add synthesis annotation. Okay, and after deployment validation is mainly used to verify that, to check that everything is okay in your bin graph, etc. You can do that with add validation. So you see there are how to say, equivalent on every event we add in CDI portable extension. So as I said, we have to introduce a new language model with this built-time compatible extension that make us introduce a new API in the Jakarta Enterprise Lang model. It's a way to provide how to say, to provide tools to enhance a given type, add annotation on the type and the members, fields or method. And there was, as I said, it was the equivalent of the CDI model it's still there for the portable extension. But this model make an heavy use of reflection, and we don't have reflection in CDI Lite. Of course, the portable extension still use the previous language model, and I didn't say that. I didn't say this information. Portable extension are not deprecated; they're still there, and it will stay in CDI. So you can keep using them, or you can switch to portable compatible built-time compatible extension. Sorry, and that's it. So this language model is inspired by a framework from Red Hat called Jandex. So if you use Jandex, you'll be very fast to go on this new language model. So you have those those new class. So the annotation target is the equivalent of the former annotated type. Class info is the annotated type. Field info, annotated field, etc., etc. Record component info has no matching part in the portable extension because record is a new feature in Java, and it wasn't introduced in the portable extension. And that's it. So with those new elements to enrich your Java class, you can go through all the new build-time compatible extension. So let's go for an example. So here I have a very basic and stupid extension. This extension is doing two different stuff. It detects a myFooService class. On this myFooService class, it removes an annotation myQualifier if it exists. Okay, so you can see we are using the @ so we are creating an extension by implementing the build compatible extension interface. So it's only a way to activate the service loader mechanism. And we have a first @enhancement annotation. We can restrict, it works on a given set of type. Here there is only one type, myFooService. After that, I have a specific signature linked to the @enhancement. So I get the object class config coming from the new Java model of the build-time compatible extension. And with this object class, I can do a bunch of stuff. And here I remove an annotation. So I'm looking for an annotation with the myQualifier value. So I'm looking for that. And the second part of the extension is adding an annotation on an existing class. So I'm doing an enhancement on my bar service class, and I add annotation. On that. If we want to do the same in portable extension, you'll see it's not quite the same. It looks a lot of the same. So in portable extension, you would have done like this. So the same, you create your extension and you implement the extension interface. And here you're using the observer in the in the Bootstrap approach. So there is the process annotated type event launched by the container at Bootstrap. And I'm looking for the process annotated type event with the type myFooService. So with this process annotated type, I can use the configurator in CDI2. So I use the configure annotated type, and I remove the annotation myQualifier. So as you can see, it's roughly the same way of doing things with another model for the classes. And the same for the second example. So you do an observer for the process annotated type of type myBar service, and you add the qualifier on it. So let's take a more interesting example. So if we go with the creation of a new bin, addition of a new bin in your bin discovery. So you have to define a way of creating an instance for this bin and a way to dispose an instance for this bin. So how do I provide a new instance for my bin? So I have to implement the synthetic bin creator. Okay, so it's for the class myPojo. And implementing this interface, I have to define the create method. So in the create method, I have the parameters used for the creation, okay, and eventually over object to get the instance. So I will here I won't use the lookup object, and I will only get in the params list the params called name, and I will use the constructor of myPojo class and create a new instance with the name I get in the params. When I want to dispose the bin, so I have an instance I want to destroy the instance of this bin. So I have to implement the synthetic bins disposer. I will get the instance, and here I don't have to do a lot of stuff. I'm doing only a system out println to dispose the instance. But imagine that the instance has I don't know a pointer on a memory specific part out of heap or a file or etc. I can do some cleanup here. Okay, and now that I have those creator and disposer feature defined, I can use them in the specific extension. So here I define a build compatible extension, and I use the add synthesis annotation to create, make the declaration of a new bin. So I take the synthetic component that give me a handle on the way to add a bin. So I use the add bin method on the synthetic component. My bin is coming from my Pojo class. I can define a bunch of type for this bin. So here it's only my Pojo, but I could have had some interface related to my Pojo or stuff like that. I give a specific list of parameter in my in my synthesis that I will be able to use at the create time, and I give the creator and the disposer of the bin. Okay, and that's it. So with that, I created a new synthetic bin at build time. Okay, so that's roughly it. So what are the steps for CDI4 since it was introduced? So as you know, it was released with Jakarta EE10, and it was released in a specific new Jakarta EE profile called the core profile. As you may know, Jakarta EE has now 3 profile, the full profile with all the spec. The web profile that was introduced in Java E6 with the spec only related to web application at the 2009 knowledge. And now there is this core profile with a very few spec in it, and it was mainly created for the microprofile specification. So microprofile 6 relies on Jakarta EE core profile. So microprofile 6 include CDI 4 and CDI Lite, especially CDI Lite, because CDI full is not in the core profile. So Quarkus, it will adopt Quarkus will adopt it in Quarkus 3, so it's already done. My slide is not up to date. So today you can use CDI Lite in Quarkus 3.x. So ArcGI provide you a build compatible extension, and there was a lot of work done by the Micronaut team as well to make sure that the way of doing this portable extension is compatible with Micronaut and will make sense for Micronaut to implement the CDI specification. So today you can provide a portable way to extend Quarkus, and you can, how to say, you can remove the proprietary extension. Shouldn't you have to use all the specific Quarkus parts related to Graal VM and stuff like that? If it's very simple, you can use the portable extension. It will be portable to Eliden, it will be portable to Micronaut in the future, etc. So Micronaut will be, as I said, will be released with the version of CDI Lite in the coming month, and probably other microprofile implementation will follow in the future. So that's all for me. If you have questions.
Okay, so thank you very much, Antoine. It was a really great session, and I think it was really interesting in terms of description of the future and what is coming next from CDI's perspective. So let me see. I think we have some questions, and I grab it somewhere in here. Now it's a bit difficult to find it. I'm gonna start from the very top of the. Yeah, here we have some. We have very interesting things from people that are coming, by the way, from different countries, including United Kingdom, Germany, Italy, etc. And
Wow.
we have some questions from India as well. So here, I'm going to start to, let me see if I can share the question in here. Yes, so here you have the first question.
Default identity means no need. Yeah, you don't have to have a Benez XML in CDI4. So by default, it will be annotated. But mostly, it's more it's a better way to put the file in your deployment. But if you in a spec, if you don't put Benz XML in your deployment, the annotated will be the default mode. But there is a corner case. If I remember well, the specification, you still have a case where you don't have the file, but you have an extension. If you do that, CDI will be unactivated. I don't remember why, to be honest, but it was a specific corner case. But if you want an advice, keep the basic XML.
No need to get rid from the XML still, no? Yes, so somebody
So by the way,
already, I think.
Ben's XML file is mostly an empty file. You can add specific stuff in that, but it's very, how to say, legacy or a very specific way of doing things.
Mm-hmm. I think it's actually what Ladislav already commented in
Yeah,
here, no?
Ladislav
That,
is saying that I'm said something wrong. So sorry for that. But anyway, you need to have Ben's XML in your archive.
mm-hmm. Great. So there are other questions. Let me check if I found it.
To say something, as Ladislav is here, most of the CDI Lite build time extension part was done by him for the model,
okay.
and so it's the best it's the best person to
ask for.
to give a comment here.
Great. So we have another question from here. From I think I have it here. If CDI Lite can be used outside of Graal with JDK Java compiler build.
So you don't have to have Graal to use the build compatible extension. That's mostly the best illustration of that is the name of the feature, build time compatible extension compatible, because today if you take Weld, the way this type of extension is used by Weld is in fact a kind of hack. It's done by simulating the built-in compatible extension at runtime. But in theory, you can have it in the specific implementation of CDI. You can create the static class and stuff like that at runtime. You don't have to use GraalVM to have this feature. But it's not done because there is no implementation that did the job, but it's theoretically doable, and perhaps it will be done in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps it's already
Okay.
done, Ladislav, no?
Let's see if he can reply meanwhile. So here we have, well, I have some questions. So for example, what is coming next for the next version of CDI? What is coming in the future?
So what I saw is that CDI 4.1 is in the work and near the release or around the release. Most of the work is to have a better integration and provide better way to do integration for over specification, especially the REST extension, so the REST specification regarding the context and stuff like that. So it will be easier to use CDI component with your REST endpoint and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
Okay.
also some clarification.
Okay. And the last thing that we could ask about is if you can explain to us, for example, what's the common base around related to CDI with Quarkus, Micronaut, and Helidon. I think you mentioned something on your slides.
Okay, so a cynical person could say that CDI Lite was designed to make sure that Quarkus will be a full implementation of microprofile. So
Mm-hmm.
you change the spec to have it, but it's more complicated than that. In fact, the good news for us was at the beginning of the work on CDI Lite, people from Micronaut came to the spec. So it was very nice to have them because we made sure that what we were designing wasn't only Quarkus oriented, but will also work for Micronaut. So it's not a specification only for Quarkus. It's working for
Only let's say one implementation
yeah,
or design it so that one particular
the
implementation
design.
change
So
you mean.
it will be compatible with Micronaut. They are working on their own implementation of CDI Lite and the built-in compatible extension. I know that another microprofile implementation from Oracle called Elidon is also in the work. So today they do some hack to support it, but they will support it in the end. So it's it's a nice feature for all the microprofile implementation or Jakarta E implementation if you want to use them.
Mm-hmm.
So as I said, you can use those the feature from built-in compatible extension in your classical CDI deployment. So you can use it in how to say standard Java Jakarta E, sorry, not Java, Jakarta E container.
Okay, understood. So I think, let me see if I can refresh. Yes, I think there are no more questions. So, yep, I think we are arriving to the end. And it seems that we have finished all the questions. So, as there are no more questions coming, thank you very much, Anton, for your time. Thank you very much for
Thank
having
you.
this moment with you. It was a pleasure, and I hope we will see you soon in some other event.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.